Come in, sit down. You don't have to hold yourself in any particular way right now. You don't have to be presentable or composed or any specific version of yourself. Just come in exactly as you are. Take a breath. And let it be an honest breath, not the breath of someone performing relaxation, but the actual breath of someone who is tired and has been carrying something heavy and is, for this brief window, allowed to set it down without consequence. Stay here. I know why you are here. Not the surface reason, not the topic or the title or whatever brought this particular transmission to your attention. The deeper reason. The one that runs beneath all of the interest in consciousness and identity and reality and manifestation and all of it. You are here because somewhere in you, in a place that predates all the frameworks and all the work and all the searching, there is a wound that asks the same question over and over again. What is wrong with me? Not loudly, not always consciously, but persistently, patiently. Underneath the progress, underneath the growth, underneath the periods of clarity and confidence and genuine forward movement, persistently present. A low, steady, deeply familiar voice that looks at the gap between where you are and where you feel you should be and draws the same conclusion it has always drawn. Something is wrong with me. I know that voice. And I know the particular exhaustion of someone who has been in conversation with it for years, who has tried to answer it, to satisfy it, to give it enough evidence of okayness that it would finally go quiet, who has worked on themselves genuinely, sincerely, with real dedication, partly out of genuine desire to grow, and partly, if you are very honest, in the hope that enough growth would finally be sufficient to silence the voice. That the voice would eventually look at the accumulated evidence of your improvement and say, "All right, enough. You are not broken after all." I need to tell you something about that voice and about that strategy. The voice will not be silenced by more evidence of okayness, not because the evidence is insufficient, but because the voice is not actually engaging with the evidence. The voice is not a conclusion drawn from a rational assessment of the data. The voice is a wound, and wounds do not heal through the accumulation of counter-vidence. They heal through being seen, through being recognized for what they actually are, through the specific quality of attention that says, "I see this, I know what this is, and I am not frightened of it." So let me offer that now. Let me see it with you. The wound arrived early. For most people, it arrives before the age when language is fully developed. Before you had the cognitive tools to question it, to examine it, to hold it at arm's length and look at it clearly. It arrived in the form of experiences that your young consciousness interpreted through the only framework available to it, the framework of self-reference. Something happened. Maybe something large and singular, maybe something small and repeated, and your consciousness, doing what young consciousness does, drew the conclusion that made the most sense to it at the time, that the thing that happened because of something about you, that the pain or the withdrawal or the criticism or the absence or the inconsistency was a report on your fundamental adequacy as a person. You were too much or not enough, too difficult or too easy to overlook, too emotional or too closed, too needy or too self-sufficient to need protecting. Something about the specific texture of the wound told you something specific about what you were that caused it. And that specific message, whatever version of it you received, became the answer to the question the wound never stopped asking. What is wrong with me? This thing. This particular thing. This is what is wrong. And then you spent years, maybe a lifetime, either trying to fix the thing or trying to compensate for it. Either working to become different enough from it that it was no longer true, or building such impressive structures around it that it remained invisible, And sometimes the working was successful. Sometimes the fixing or the compensating produced real change and real growth. And in those moments, you thought, perhaps the wound is healed. Perhaps the voice will now be quiet. But the voice did not quiet. Because what you fixed was the surface, and the wound is not at the surface. The wound is at the level of the original conclusion, the level at which a very young version of you decided, based on information that was never accurate, that something about who you fundamentally are is inadequate, is wrong, is the explanation for every painful thing that has ever happened, and every gap between the life you have and the life you can feel should be yours. That conclusion is not true. Let me say that again with the weight it deserves. The original conclusion, the one the wound has been protecting, the one that the voice has been articulating in your ear for all of these years, is not true. It was never true. It was the best interpretation a very young consciousness could make of experiences that were genuinely painful, using the only framework available to it, the framework that placed itself at the center as the cause. But you were not the cause. You were the recipient. The pain that shaped the wound was not a report on your fundamental adequacy. It was not evidence of something inherently wrong with you that needed to be fixed before you could be worthy of a full life. It was simply pain. Pain that happened to you. Pain that had causes in the adults around you and the systems around them and the histories around those systems. Causes that had nothing to do with what you were at your core, nothing to do with whether you were enough, nothing to do with the question the wound has been asking ever since. Nothing was wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you now. You are not a project. You are not an ongoing renovation of something fundamentally flawed. You are not someone who has to keep working on themselves to stay on the acceptable side of the line between broken and whole. You are not someone for whom healing is the removal of something inherently defective. You are someone who received a wound, and the wound, like all wounds, produced a distortion, a particular way of seeing yourself that is not accurate, that has never been accurate, but that has been so present and so early and so deeply embedded in the architecture of how you experience yourself that it has come to feel like truth. It is not truth. It is a wound, and there is a very important difference. Truth cannot be healed. Truth simply is. But a wound, even a very old wound, even one that arrived before you had language, even one that has been with you for so long that you have stopped distinguishing it from yourself. A wound can heal, not by fixing what the wound told you was broken in you, by recognizing that the thing the wound told you was wrong was never wrong at all. Feel something right now. Feel the part of you that has been working so hard, that has been dedicated and sincere and genuinely invested in the work of becoming more whole, more aligned, more worthy of the life you want. Feel the exhaustion in that part, the deep, genuine running beneath, very thing exhaustion of someone who has been in the process of fixing something for a very long time and is not entirely sure they have made enough progress. I want to say something to that part of you directly. You were never broken. The work you have been doing, the genuine, sincere, dedicated work, has been real. It has produced real growth and real change and real expansion, but it was never the repair of something fundamentally defective. It was always the revelation of something that was whole from the beginning, that only needed the accumulated layers of the wound to be understood clearly enough to release. You did not arrive in this life as a broken thing that had to be fixed before it was worthy. You arrived as something complete, and the work of your life, the real work, the deepest work, is not the construction of adequacy. It is the return to the wholeness that was always the truth of you. The wholeness is not ahead of you. It is not something you are building toward. It is not the reward at the end of enough growth and enough healing and enough work on yourself. It is beneath you. It has always been beneath you. It is the floor, the actual structural permanent floor of who you are. And everything else, every wound and every distortion and every layer of the enough story, is furniture sitting on top of that floor. Furniture that can be moved, that is being moved by the work you are doing, that has been moving your entire life. But the floor itself, the original wholeness, has never moved. It has never been damaged. It has never been at risk. It has been exactly where it always was, beneath the furniture, fully intact, waiting for the day when enough of the furniture has been cleared that you can feel it under your feet. Feel it right now. Not as a concept, as a physical sensation. What does it feel like in your body to contact, even slightly, the possibility that you are not a work in progress toward adequacy, but a whole thing that is in the process of remembering its wholeness? What does it feel like to consider that the voice, the one that has been asking what is wrong with you for as long as you can remember, is not reporting on reality, that it is reporting on a wound, that it is not telling you something important and true about who you are, but something understandable and very old about what happened to you? There is a difference in the quality of those two things. One is something you have to live with because it is simply true. One is something you can heal because it was never actually you. It was something that happened to you, and what happens to you and what you are not the same thing. You are not broken. You have never been broken. The question the wound asks does not have the answer the wound believes it has. The answer is not this particular flaw, this particular inadequacy, this particular thing about you that explains all the difficulty. The answer is nothing. Nothing is wrong with you at the level the question has always been asked. You are whole. You have always been whole. You are someone who received pain and interpreted it through the only framework available and drew a conclusion that felt true and has felt true ever since. But feeling true and being true are not the same thing. You are not broken. You are healing, not from brokenness, from the belief in brokenness. And the healing does not make you whole. The healing reveals that you were whole all along. That wholeness is present in you right now, not as potential, not as a future state, not as the reward for enough work, as the actual present living reality of who you are beneath the wound. Feel it, even slightly, even just the edge of it, even just the faintest recognition that something in you knows this is true. Not the wounded part, not the voice, but the deeper part, the part that has always been whole, the part that has been patiently waiting underneath all of it, steady and quiet and intact for this moment. The moment you looked at the wound and understood what it was. Not a truth about you, a wound, just a wound. And you are so much more than any wound that ever happened to you. You always were.